I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, I think that would be too many people.
Yeah. But
All right, bring.
just.
Sorry,
All right,
Ed.
let me
Bring him on.
Bring his son of a bitch on. I want to go at him.
Yeah.
Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
That's such a perfect clip.
Yeah. Alrighty. Mr. Hardcore Man, state your arguments for and against what we have said. Okay, he's clearly setting up. Okay. That's not in the movies. That's not in the movies.
What's not in the movies? What?
That he was instructed to use the dart so that he would be followed to Camino.
Oh, that again. Okay, never mind.
That could
it's
easily
also
be inferenced, but again, it's not explicitly.
It's also an
anywhere.
insanely risky plan. Like, what if they sent 10 Jedi and Jango was captured?
Yeah.
It's also not in the Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or 7 people. Oh my gosh. 20 people met. The limit is.
Oh, it's 8.
Yeah, what is the limit on StreamYards?
10.
10.
Wait, it's 10? I thought it was 8.
No, they upped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we'd had that many people, it's like it's been even more chaotic than usual.
Yeah.
I mean, you can maybe do like rotating, like
Yes.
someone leaves and then someone else comes in from backstage. But aside from that, it's like, okay, this is probably gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to take a break, I could bring on a firing rider if he wants to come on.
Actually, yeah, I'll take the break.
Okay, you'll take the break. I will bring in. Okay, I'll bring in a
Okay,
firing rider.
I actually need to hub out Fanatic or something, so
Okay,
see you guys later.
All right.
See ya.
Cool.
So what's more, my opinion has not changed on this film. This is still my absolute favorite. Bye.
I still think that it's still my favorite. I'm just willing to criticize it.
Yeah. Anyways, Charlie, nice to see you here. Glad you're here, man. Anyways, see all of you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Hi.
My rancor is hungry. My rancor is hungry.
So is that the Rancor of Progress, or is it a different Rancor?
Never mind.
Yeah, done. If you ever wake up late at night and you want to watch more school movies, I will probably be available.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
yes,
we can hear you now.
All right. I couldn't find a proper picture. Like, I had a really cool one where I shoot a shotgun, but that doesn't work.
Okay. 1 second, allow me to bring on aspiring writer.
I should... What the fuck is that? What the hell is any of that?
That
was from Invincible.
Okay.
That was J.K. Simmons yelling at a child he just beat up.
All right.
Much better story than Revenge of the Sith.
Agreed.
No.
Alrighty. State your arguments. I'm
How about you state your arguments? I'm not fun doing anything.
Okay. That's fine.
I'll say this. Like, what are the reasons for the structural problems? What structural problems?
George Lucas can't write. That's the reason.
Let's be polite. He cannot write well alone.
That's something that I would take hours to go into. Like, I'd have to make like multiple hour long video on why that is wrong.
He needs at least one co-writer.
Like George Lucas is one of those people who's just cursed with having like people not understand what he's writing, and that's just they just don't get it.
No.
You know, that was
Replica,
exactly.
You should make like a School of Movies ripoff what Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith means.
Okay. I just paranoia issues. Are you who I think you are?
Who do you think I am?
Yeah,
I've heard your voice before.
Have you? Well, I've been on these streams before.
You
so-
sound
Isn't he
a lot like you sound a lot like a guy I knew. A guy named.
Isn't he
Heather.
an evil overlord?
A guy named what?
Okay, you're not him.
Can
Okay. Well, I hope at least you're not him. If you are him, I will say you are the master spy, like just a master. But you're probably not.
I have absolutely no idea what you're
Don't
talking about.
Don't try and figure out who he is. Let's just say that he would be you in an alternate dimension where you're like an awful person and like bad faith arguments all around. So, like, it's just don't worry about him, okay? Like he's an alternate version of you.
Oh,
I gotta tell you, man. You come in here and you hit the ground fucking running. Jesus. Already claiming people are bad faith arguments.
No. There's a guy who sounds almost exactly like him, who is like way worse in every way. And I just he sounds so much like I thought he was him undercover, but that's it's all right.
Lucas is scum.
They thought I was someone from School of Movies, so
Lucas is scum, and the films are filth.
All right, so let's
Pardon me.
let's get somewhere coherent, right? Like I've watched you guys stream. I think you guys were pretty good. Like the only reason why I was ever typing as much as I did was because, like, I had wanted to be on the stream, so by all intents and purposes, I was going to be on the stream, whether it was in text or audio. So I was typing like I was talking. So that's why I was saying so much, and you know, it's basically if I was there, I would have said those things to you guys. Now, of course, it's stupid because in text you don't get to convey yourself very well. So I look like an obsessive idiot. But anyway, you guys did a good job. Like
You're being too pleasant by far.
like you guys did great. I mean, like it's like there's a lot of like when I look at most of the arguments against the prequels, like a lot of them are very wrong and generic. You guys brought up some of them, but you mostly ignored like the really bad ones. Like the only point where I really started to get pissed off was when Tarek said that it wasn't deep. Like that just makes me angry.
It's
Like-
not a very deep story.
It is
People
about
put-
as
How-
deep as
People put
Number
deep
one,
meanings
number one.
into it.
One at a time.
Okay, number one. How do you quantify depth in story? And
That's
B,
not- that's
how
good-
is the
that's-
prequels?
that's not how you do this. Like it's
Yes, it is. That is the way a person when writing, a person can have a lot of different meaning, and in order to have that different meaning, it should be obvious to the person reading. It should, because that is the way you convey a message. If
know
it's
what you're
surface
talking
level, if it's
like,
surface level,
Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Like it like I would say back in the day it goes without saying. I will give you slightly more than that now, but it's very stupid to say. All right, like George Lucas said it. George Lucas. I mean, do you think he was just bullshitting when he said it's like poetry? It rhymes. Like that's.
I do not have the
It's not
context
what
for
we're
that.
getting
no.
at.
I do not have the context for that.
So may I think that like what he is trying to do, like I think that is what he's trying to do.
Oh, there's no try
but
with
I
him.
don't. I think
Okay,
that is,
stop
that
it
is-
and let him speak.
I
I'll
think
do
that is the goal that he set out. I don't think that like he necessarily executed it that well.
Mhm.
We can clearly tell that there's a lot of things that he wanted to have in his movies.
Well,
if
I
you
don't
want to
know.
call that deep or thoughtful or
Well, I don't know
inspired or
if
whatever.
I don't know how much of all that is like you guys just not getting it, or is like actually a
What do we
problem
not
because it's
get?
hard. It's hard to talk about because
What do
like,
we not
it
get?
is like
What do
it
we
is
not get? They're
really.
very simple. They're very
Replica.
simple.
I'm going to make this clear right now. When I was born, one of the first movies I ever saw was Star Wars, the original in theaters when it was re-released. Up until The Force Awakens, I had the books. Half of my original Xbox library was Star Wars. I had the DVDs. I had the Blu-rays. I had the comics. I had I consumed
That
the
doesn't-
hell out of this.
mean
Hold on, hold on.
Let him talk first.
I consumed the hell out of this franchise for the past 20 years. I know I read the wiki, I did everything. So I can honestly tell you that while George Lucas did in fact make a universe that was captured the imaginations of many, I can honestly tell you that other writers gave it more breadth, more depth, and more life than George Lucas did. He was the precursor, but these other mediums were the ones that gave it more depth to it. Star Wars by default was supposed to be a very simple space opera. It was a story, it was the hero's journey. That's all it was ever supposed to be. The prequels, yeah, he tried experimenting with it. But George Lucas, at heart, was always just a guy who said, I want to tell this one story, and this is the way I'm going to do it. That's why I don't think there was anything deeper. He's not trying to make a message about war is bad. He's not trying to make a message about the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. He's not trying to make a message about Nazis. He's trying to tell the story of good overcoming evil. That's it.
That's about as deep as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
believe
what
me,
life is
Terry-
about. What do you?
Pause one at a time. Okay,
Hey.
so can
Tarek is not the only one that has bookshelves upon bookshelves with those books.
Yeah.
I have all those books too.
Can
I don't have any of the Disney books because I do not trust them to not meddle with the people who are good at writing.
Is it okay if we kind of avoid certain
So-
appeals to authority arguments?
I mean, like they're not really appealing to any authority when they say that, because the people, the OT fanboys who hated the prequels, they were old school. Like they loved it back in the day, and they saw everything, and they are about as wrong on the movies as anyone can be. So, like it's
so like as deep as it gets, I would. So what do you mean by that? Like that's like as deep.
Well,
as
I'm just saying that to say that good versus evil is not deep alone is just it's already like very stupid to start from.
Why?
Okay, can I just break in for a second?
Go ahead.
So I think the way this works is that, according to Replica, the theme of good versus evil is the deepest you can go, because it's so important for us as humans. Whereas for Neph and Tarek, it is not deep in the sense that it is very simple and easy to write.
Yes, that's what we're getting at.
What I will say to that effect is that you have levels of evil, you have levels of good. In fact, Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2 explored the good and evil far deeper than the original trilogy or the prequels did.
Oh, okay.
I will agree with you that I like it. I just have criticisms of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You agree with being paid.
Okay. So let's not get it mixed up here. Like there's multiple levels to that I have problems with there. Like the good and bad is not the only theme by far, and it's also not the only. God damn it! Fucking TLJ is stupid fucking ruination of themes. Themes actually affect quality in films. They actually do. TLJ just makes it look like they don't. Fucking hell. But look, I how do I put this? I can absolutely go like really far into detail with these sorts of things, but especially here in this stream situation, I just look. It's very simple. Okay, like I don't see how anyone would think that it's so simple, especially since Star Wars was far more popular than anything that ever. You don't just latch on to the same bullshit as like 1,000 other things have been. If that was the case, then all these other stories with the hero's journey would be the same thing. I understand
no.
that Empire
So-
opened up.
Wait, Neph, wait.
Yeah.
Empire
So,
opened the box and made things a lot more interesting, which is probably why people think it's the best one.
Mhm.
But it's I mean it was about stuff, and sure, if we just look at episode 4 on its own, it doesn't seem that way, but Lucas introduced a lot more of his ideas, and I have seen his original movies, THX 1138. I've seen American Graffiti. I've seen a lot of his stuff, so I know like the way how he thinks about stuff. And well, I mean, I don't know him, but well, it's to say that Star Wars is not deep, as in like it's essentially like a knight and wizard in space or whatever. That's basically just an admission.
Whoa, that is not what we are saying.
No.
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 Well, I mean, like that's how you would take it, because
No.
No.
That's not how that's not what any of us meant. What
No.
Okay.
One more time, Neph. Give me it one more time, please.
Okay.
Let Neph do it. Neph, let's let Tark. Let's let
No,
Tark-
I was being serious. Give me that no one more time.
Okay. No.
Thank you. That's what I want. That's all I wanted, sweetheart. Anyway,
okay. Before you counter respond, Tarek, I just want to say I ain't hostile to none of you.
I'm not hostile to you either, but I'm about to. I'll give you what we're talking about here. We are not saying that this is just some silly space wizards movie. This is not what we mean. Mm-hmm. What I mean is that the movie is not exploring, say, the human condition. It's not like a movie. What was the one? Not even Nightcrawler. What's that one that Mahler just reviewed?
Father?
The Father, yeah. It's not exploring the human condition. It's not exploring this disease or this, what is the meaning of life or what is happiness. It's not exploring that. What we mean by it's not deep is that it's not making me question what is good and what is evil. It's telling me what good and evil is. Evil is when you genocide a planet. Good is when you blow up everybody who genocided a planet. That is.
1 second from the chat. How much money to silence or burn these heretics? He says
$1 billion.
No. 5 billion. It has to be 5.
Come on, Bob, that's cheap.
$1 trillion.
$5 billion,
trillion.
and I'll burn everyone in this room.
But 5 trillion. We sound like an auction now.
Do I have 5? Do I have 5? Do I have 6?
Replica is not coming in the mass murder burning. By the way,
If you can get me 1 gigajoule of money, one gigajoule dollars, I will say anything you want me to for a gigajoule of money.
You better be willing to share that money, mate.
Wait, a gigajoule?
Make
What are
him
you
say
talking
that
about?
traps are gay.
That's weak bait. Done. Say dragons are gay.
Gigajoule, that's a measure of energy, not of weight.
I guess that was just proof of how fucking innocent I am, because that's the worst thing I could think of.
But anyways, back to my point. All right. What I'm trying to say is that Star Wars did not make me think about what is truly good and what is truly evil. And by what I mean by that is, just as a simple example, a man steals a loaf of bread to give to his starving family. Is the action good or bad? He stole the bread, but his family is starving. Do the two cancel each other out? He still broke the law. What is good and what is evil? So that's what I'm saying. Like Star Wars, there's clearly two sides. This Empire bad, Rebels good. That is only going by the movies.
That's not really true. Like,
how is that not true?
Well, I mean, if you watch the films chronologically, like the people that are the Empire and the OT were the good guys in the beginning of the. You were like on the side of the stormtroopers in the beginning, and now they're the bad guys.
What?
Well, no. I know what he's saying. So he means chronologically, we're first siding with the clone troopers, who end up becoming like the stormtroopers. But that's not really one. You don't watch the movies chronologically.
All right, let's roll the clock back a bit. It's 1985. The first 3 Star Wars movies are out.
No.
What do you mean? No. That's the way they were released.
No, I don't go with that at all.
You probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you probably
not.
should.
No, I'm not doing that.
What? You're not doing that. So you're not going to watch. You're not doing that, even though episode 4, 5, and 6 came before 1, 2, and 3.
It's the numbers tell you how to view them.
No. The numbers didn't exist until 1999.
Yeah, well, I was born in 2000. Is it called 2000 or 2002? Fuck, 2000. I was born in 2000. So what do you want?
Well, that explains a lot right now.
Yeah, when Star Wars came out, it was just Star Wars. There wasn't even a New Hope or anything. It was just plain Star Wars.
Okay.
Well, okay, if we're gonna talk about that, then I mean, like,
Okay.
the first.
Here's the thing.
the first name for the movie was just
the
New Hope.
chronology is not that important in terms of writing quality. Because the original trilogy came out first, therefore the prequels is beholden to their continuity, not the other way around.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
In fact,
so,
go ahead,
and
sorry.
so because of this, when I watch the prequels with the context of the original trilogy, New Hope does better world building than Phantom Menace does, because I understand what the Force is more from watching New Hope more than I would from Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure, you can have that opinion, I guess.
That's not an opinion. That is fact.
Yeah, because they actually explain the Force and
World
they show
building
Jedi
wise-
training.
World building wise, I guess the prequels are like significantly better than the OT, but they're both generally just as good overall, I guess.
Get out in the chat, please.
Well, the prequels have more world building. Whether or not it's better is a bit of a debate thing, because the OT doesn't. Yeah, you're comparing two different things, because OT doesn't do much of it, which I guess you could say is bad, but it's like they're not playing the same game.
I would argue it's more of a sense of scale than anything else, because
the world building. Sorry.
I to give the benefit of the doubt here, I would say that it's more to scale, because the OT is very self-contained, and we do understand the stakes. We do understand what's going on with the immediate characters, and that's all we need to understand. But we need to understand how the Republic fell, so thus the prequels need a much larger scope.
Well, that's I mean, that's like the technical reason why the things are like that. But there's also the behind the scenes reason, and that's simply that George couldn't afford to do what he wanted to do with the OT, so he later did it with the prequels. If he had all the money in the world, he would have made the OT exactly like the prequels.
No, actually.
How did I know that?
The original trilogy came out when the hang on, done. Let me make this point. When the original trilogy came out, there was none CGI, none. He had to invent every single technology that he used in his movies.
Yeah, I know that, but like he would have done like the 70s equivalent of that if he could have, but he didn't.
He did do that.
Oh, did he really? Where's Coruscant in? Where's Coruscant in Episode 4 then?
He made up Coruscant for the prequels.
Coruscant
Coruscant was in the EU, and then he brought it into 1999.
Saying where is this thing he added in the prequels, and he might never have included that in the OT. I doubt he would have, because why would the rebels even go near Coruscant? It would be the most well-guarded place in the universe.
Yes,
it's in the core. Why would they?
And also, George Lucas has changed his opinion before.
Yes.
Many times.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason to assume that if he just had more money, the story would be exactly the same.
No,
the story would be different.
I'm not saying that.
If he had unlimited money, the story would be different from what we ended up getting in the 70s, but it would not be like the prequels necessarily.
All that I wanted to do was point out that this world building stuff is the stuff that George Lucas loves the most, and he would have done way more of it in the OT if he could have.
I actually can't argue with that. I do agree with you. He does have a penchant for that stuff.
Well, does he do it well?
Editing.
Yeah, very well. I mean, fucking hell, it's fantastic in the OT, which is amazing considering how bare bones it is.
Like, can I get some examples of like world building the prequels that isn't very thin and surface level?
Because, like, I could point out a bad example. Credits don't mean shit in Tatooine, yet Anakin brags about his amount of credits there, and they don't really say what other kind of currency the Hutts would use.
What are you talking about?
When did that happen?
In the first movie. I thought we were just talking about the prequels in general.
I never heard Anakin ever say that he has like $1,000.
I don't
remember that either.
I don't remember that either.
I have photographic memory of the movies, and I've never heard of that.
All he said was just, look how much money we made off of the pod racer. He didn't mention credits. He didn't mention any. He didn't mention what kind of money it was.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, I guess I could pull up the movie if you want me to.
I'll just refer to you in this space.
So with this one, it's mainly because if you watch it in chronological order, if you're waiting to explain some of the mechanics until the fourth movie, that kind of...
There's a reason why Aragon explains magic in the first book instead of the third.
Yeah. So
you use Aragon as your example?
Well, yeah, it's like even Aragon gets this right.
I don't think the Aragon is very good.
Aragon,
the dragon.
I thought it was like
inheritance cycle, like Christopher Pauline.
Yeah, making yourself look real good there, pal.
Well, I thought it said Aragorn too, so you're not alone.
I'm not paying attention. Fuck.
Yeah.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah. Okay, I think I was thinking of like a Google of money, maybe not a Google gigajoule.
Googleplex, like that's
Googleplex.
an insane amount of money.
That's an insane amount of money.
I will. If you could give me that much money, I will basically like say whatever you want me to say, Bo.
You could buy the entire world with that amount.
No, here's the thing.
Where did the integrity shit go?
Dunchak, you're corrupt.
Well, that's what. Well, the thing is, at that point, like you have achieved the impossible. So I'm just like, okay, might as well give you some respect.
Done. If you had that much money, you've literally made currency on the planet on probably 6 galaxies worthless.
Cool.
That shit with Aragon was just too funny. Like I thought you guys were talking about Lord of the Rings. For fuck's sake.
No.
So it's meant to be. Well, George Lucas never said that.
There's a reason people say chronological order or
that's appeal to authority.
All right. I got it. He just says, look at how much money we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't say like what kind of money. Like I obviously it's assumed to be Tatooine money, but
Yeah, I might be
How would he get Tatooine money though if he lives in the Republic?
Yeah. So
it was meant to be watched the way it was released. Yeah, George Lucas said that, and it's numbered that way, so it makes sense. Of course, it's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I
mean, I don't know. Like, if I could just go on a tiny side channel, like I do not understand the machete order, the whatever order, the other order. Like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's so hard about that?
Because he's writing it from where he did the original trilogy to the prequels, and because of this, he does feel like you have a basic understanding of what the Force is when he's writing Episode 1. There's that set knowledge he believes you have, so it will feel a bit awkward when you watch it in chronological order.
It teaches you plenty about it. Like it's
no, he doesn't.
No, yeah, what he is expecting when he says you should watch it 1 through 6 is that these people who are rewatching these movies have already watched 4 through 6.
I don't understand this argument.
Basically, when he made movie 1, he believed people would have watched 4 through 6 because that came out before 1. He is writing that. It's why it's called prequels. He thinks you have that knowledge already in there, and so because of this, he will add on knowledge with the belief that you have that basis already.
The movie isn't called Star Wars Prequel Episode 1.
Doesn't matter what it's called.
It is still a prequel. doesn't matter if it says prequel in the title. It is a prequel.
I'm not saying it's wrong to watch it 1 through 6. I'm simply saying that very clearly he wrote episode 1 with the thought that you have watched 4 through 6 because he adds on knowledge. He doesn't just restart and be like, okay, so this is the Force. This is how you Force push.
I don't think this is correct. I think this is very
well. What you think is irrelevant to what is correct.
Especially since you can.
Time.
What?
Replica first.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think that any of this I don't know what you're trying to prove with that, but it certainly doesn't work because if that was not mentioned before, which I'm pretty 100% sure it was, then them excluding that before going into episode 5 is just making sure that what Yoda says in episode 5 is not irrelevant dog shit.
What?
Okay.
Well, if they explain,
that's like a complete non sequitur.
I agree.
I was like, where is he going?
All right. Let me make this incredibly simple then. If they explain it in episode 1, that episode 5, where Yoda explains to Luke, is irrelevant because we already fucking know it. So now that seems
no, it's not. No, it's not because Luke does not know that information.
Yeah, it's irrelevant to. It's repetitive to the audience.
But it is not irrelevant.
So
and George Lucas is supposed to be the one who has no idea about that, right?
And here's the thing. I think if he wrote 1 through 3 first and then had to explain the Force to Luke through 5, I think he would show less of what he did because we understand enough, and now we're just going to be assuming that he is imparting much of that wisdom to Luke. We will see less of it or have less of it said.
No. No.
Okay.
It was Obi-Wan that explained to Luke what the Force was.
What Yoda trained him. Yoda trained him. He would have had to explain, this is how you lift an object.
So
I think
we don't see that.
So can I kind of maybe bridge the gap between what you're saying, because I think the idea is that Obi-Wan, it kind of gives him some initial training and then and kind of explains the mechanics of the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field that surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us. And then Yoda kind of expands on that. Is that where you're going?
Yes, that's exactly where I'm going.
Okay.
That's kind of explaining what the Force is, not necessarily the mechanics of how one uses it, which is Yoda.
Exactly, which is what I am saying. The mechanics of how to use it are described are kind of expanded upon by Yoda. Obi-Wan gives him a little bit of training on the Falcon, when he's wearing the blindfold. But kind of in terms of watching it 1, 2, 3, 4, the mechanics of what the Force is not explained in the prequels. So he is.
Is it not? Because I really think it is. I don't know what's
Here's the thing.
Not.
I think
it's not.
Here's the thing, Replica.
I would have to rewatch it.
If the stories had been written in chronological order, the Force would have had to be explained in episode 1, but it isn't. It's explained in episode 4 because that's the movie where it was introduced. It is explaining it both to the characters and to the audience.
Problem with
what parts of the prequels? There's a disconnect with the prequels where certain things are not explained because the audience should already know it. But then it's okay, how do you then watch it in chronological order as the ideal viewing order?
The problem with what you guys are saying is that this also works double retroactively. If you watch 1 to 6, then you still already know it if you watch it again.
Yeah.
If you watch 1, 2, and 3 without the context of things like what the Force is, you're gonna be hopelessly confused.
In fact,
not really.
The first movie kind of adds a bit with the midichlorians.
You see, like, the reason why I'm such an advocate for the looking at them as 1 to 6 is because I actually am one of the rare people who did view it that way.
Well, I did too.
The first Star Wars film I ever saw was Episode 1.
Wasn't Aspiring saying something?
Oh, go for it. Sorry.
I think Aspiring was saying something.
Yeah, Aspiring, go.
I thought I did. I
Oh,
said,
you
like,
dying?
I was saying that I also watched them in chronological order.
I watched Phantom Menace first, and then like the OT. But I also had a book that kind of summarized the OT.
4, 5, 6 at home. 1,
4 and
2, and
5.
3 in theaters.
Same as Neph.
Yeah.
4 and 5.
Because my father loved me.
Yeah.
4 and 5 in the cinema. 4 and 5 in the cinema. 1, 2, and 3 with you, Lord.
Well, I wish I would have seen Episode 5 in theater. That would be awesome. But I was 5, so this probably makes sense.
So the question kind of becomes, like, you don't really get, like, why would you, like, I think you should have explained the Force, like, re-explained the Force again in Episode 1, because you don't get the explanation. You get an explanation of what the midichlorians are, but you don't get any context for what the Force is.
What should have happened is when he was explaining midichlorians, as dumbed down as that was for a 9-year-old, he should have gone a little bit into what the Force was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what should have happened.
I don't know about this. I mean, this is not exactly what I came in here to argue for, and I don't really think you guys are like right about this.
We are talking about this from a writing perspective because all
I'm just
of us
saying,
are writers.
Yes.
I'm just saying that I'm pretty sure he already did it, so I don't see the problem.
Did it where? The OT or prequels? Because I can't. You're kind of confusing me at this point.
Well, I'm just saying that I'm not even sure if that's true because I'm pretty sure he does go into it. So like I don't see the
We watched it 3 weeks ago.
I got $9,000. I got $9,000. I'd be willing to bet against you that he does not explain the Force in Phantom Menace.
Really?
He explains the midichlorians, but the closest thing we get to the Force is like trust the Force, sense the Force. Like,
Use your feelings.
Seems to be pretty much the explaining it.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Like,
No.
if you could, I mean, we have the easy comparison, which is the original Star Wars. Where it's like it's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together. Like that is 3 sentences. That is 3 sentences.
Obi-Wan
you
lays
understand
down
it way better than anything in the prequels.
Obi-Wan lays down everything that is shown and demonstrated numerous times in the prequels.
No.
Okay, you know what? I got one that was never explained in the prequels. What the hell hyperspace is?
I don't think hyperspace was ever actually explained.
Gotta explain that one too.
No,
we gotta explain that one. Yeah.
Well,
now you're moving the goalposts. It's like, it goes from they didn't explain
it.
It.
Explain in the OT either.
Yeah, it was. It was. They. You at least understood the mechanics that hyperspace had this thing because Han says if we come out too close, we could end up in a in an asteroid field or a sun.
That does not explain
too close
how
to
the
a black hole.
That does not explain how the system works.
It doesn't. You don't understand the system, but you understand the consequences of if you do it wrong.
So here's the thing. If we are going from the logic that you are watching it 1 through 6 in chronological order, as opposed to release order, there is a lot of context and world building that is in the OT that is not brought up at any point in the prequels.
I don't. Like,
it's not. It's not.
Okay.
And Replica, to be clear, it's not a bad thing that it's not in there necessly, because it is meant to be. It's a prequel that's coming after the OT.
I was about to say that. Like, I don't really see. I have two problems with this. Number one, I don't think that's true. Like, I think it's very clearly shown. If it's not said, it's definitely shown for sure.
It is shown.
And two, I don't see how it's a problem, because if they I think like in Dragon Ball Z, when Gohan teaches Videl how to fly, like that, they finally go into the mechanics of how the energy of these giant fucking blasts they've been firing throughout the entire series kind of works. And I mean, like I didn't need to know that before to understand how the key blasts work in that.
Okay.
Like I don't really see the problem. Like it seems like what George was going for was that all this shit is self-evident in the prequels, but then it's finally really
not
gone.
Self-evident at all.
Oh, it's not.
What? Do you think?
Okay. You're the one who's advocating for this whole watch it in chronological order. If you just go by the prequels, what is the Jedi Order?
What the?
Because the Jedi are really important. Like, what are they? How can you describe the Jedi just going by?
What is their purpose?
This kind of argumentation is bad.
How?
No, we're just asking you from what the prequels say only what the Jedi Order is.
Because this is about world building in the prequels, and you are arguing from the perspective that if you watch it in chronological order, it still works perfectly fine.
You're asking me questions that I couldn't possibly answer without like actually looking into it and like noticing every last moment and detail when it happens.
But the devil is.
Thank you.
I hate this crap in debates. Like it's
Excuse me. Excuse me.
These fucking questions to pin you down is stupid.
This is called the debate. And second of all, the devil is in the details. Details are very important in everything. They are.
Yeah,
but
they
please
are.
realize we are exploring
them
this.
Up.
But like we've just watched the movies, mate. There's a reason we're saying this.
Yeah, the last 4 weeks, because we missed last week.
Yeah.
So the last 4 weeks, we watched the first episode, we watched the second episode, and we just watched Revenge of the Sith. And we can tell you, because it's fresh in our minds, that the Jedi Order is not explained what they do.
Because it's not.
There is the Force explained.
Here's the thing. Replica, just think about this. In the OT, they are training a Force user. That's not really the focus in the prequels. It is a far grander scale, so they do not focus on the Force in that way. They do general things like midichlorians and the prophecy and have faith in the Force, but they don't really go into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, but I don't think that is how that works, though. Like like these things are clearly shown. Like like
you can see mechanically that a Jedi has telekinesis and mind control powers, but you don't see that you don't get the explanation that the Force is what gives the Jedi his
like. Let's say I went in blind.
I would have to rewatch the movies. All right. Mm-hmm. To confirm if what you say is true, because this is an element I have never even thought about. All right.
Okay.
But it does not make sense just on the face of it, because it's very clearly shown, at least. So I don't see the problem with it.
So shown things can be extrapolated in movies. I will not deny this. However, there is a disconnect when we see them use Force abilities and we don't necessarily know how, because it's not explained that this is them channeling the Force or whatever.
Let me give you an example. Sorry,
right. It is.
No, you can go, Tarek.
Okay, let's say there's a scene in the movie where Obi-Wan raises his hand and then all of a sudden a meteor falls from the sky and impacts on the Separatists. Would I take that? Like, can Jedi do this? Like, I don't know how the Force works.
Going too far.
How's that going too far?
No, it's not.
He's giving a hypothetical. We know this is never going to happen.
I don't like hypotheticals. They always go too far.
Okay, let me give you one you do know then. Star Killer pulls down a Star Destroyer
I haven't
from
played
the sky.
Force Unleashed.
But you knew immediately.
Okay, how about this instead?
Wait.
How about
Everybody
this
stop.
instead? Okay.
Okay, now we're getting
Use the Vader.
into some.
Use Vader.
Okay, we're seriously.
House rules, Sammy. Driver picks the music. Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
Let's kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use the Vader example in Luke versus Vader in Empire. Then.
You mean the saber throw?
Yeah.
No, not that one.
The jump.
In the corridor.
You're gonna have to go for that one. I'm not too sure.
In the corridor.
When he starts throwing objects.
Yes.
Is that what you're
Oh, you meant in Empire. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
What do you mean?
What do you mean no?
People have brought that up in the past. I don't think it applies.
How? It happened.
It does not apply.
No.
You're just kind of like
Vader chokes a man.
Please pause for a second. You're giving me a lot of like statements, but you're not really substantiating them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can you like?
Is that really the right time and place for that right now?
Yes, it is.
What do you mean it's not? This is exactly what this is for, to go in depth.
Live conversation. You can't it's impossible to establish like all your points as well in like a live conversation like this, as opposed to like
okay,
very
I know this, but
How
this
dare
is
you?
another way of doing it. Let's try doing it live.
Well, look, here's the thing. Even if it was, which I suppose it's possible to have like a good back and forth, but this is like, I mean, like not to, because like I've had this before, and I'm not going to compare you guys to that whatsoever. But I'm just saying this is 5 versus 1 technically. So, like, it's not good. It's not a good place to work from.
You know what? I'd join your side if I could figure out how to do so.
Replica, I try to look from your perspective, and I will play devil's advocate when I think it necessary, or help them understand what you're trying to say. But like, I think you're taking this too much in side by side. This is a nice, friendly debate where we're just discussing things. We're not trying to prove each other wrong necessarily. We're trying to explore this topic.
Oh, don't lie to the boy. It's a firing squad, and you know
it. He won't feel safe if he thinks that, though.
This is not a safe space.
I've brought a bulletproof vest for that.
So kind of like it's kind of like what I'm getting from you is like you're saying like we can allow Replica to have his point, but like I want you to kind of like you're kind of saying that it is something and it's kind of just like that's not there, and it's hard for me to kind of like come from your side.
Well, I mean, like I have thought, like I have my own thoughts on many specific aspects of the films, but I don't really like when it comes to like the whole thing where people say like, oh, the telekinesis and throwing objects was established in episode 5. Like, I don't really feel like that's fair. Like what
do you mean?
It was actually established in episode 1 with Vader chokes a person. Like that's
that was.
Anybody who says that is
wait. Yeah, that was in episode 4.
Yeah.
So telekinesis, like anybody who makes that argument is not. I will agree with you, Replica, that anybody who says that like, well, Empire established telekinesis, not episode 4. It wasn't established in the lore of the original movie. It's just like, no.
Vader I mean, technically, it's established in episode 1 because that's the first one. But I mean,
honestly,
Star Wars episode 4 came out first.
77.
So
yes, I know that. I know that. And and that I will recognize obviously because it's true. But once again, I look at the films chronologically.
Where do you get any context for what the Force is other than it's this seemingly omniscient God type being?
Well, I know that Qui-Gon explains a lot of it.
He explains what a midichlorians are, and that it makes your reflexes are quicker, but the full explanation of it's an energy field does not come in until episode 4.
I'll just I'll just assume you're right until I can see it like the opposite, because I really did, like, I didn't come for this whatsoever.
Okay, so what would be the points that you would want to discuss, and we can kind of go from there.
The actual points I want to discuss. God, I should have started out with this. It's like because see, the reason why in the beginning I said I'm not doing nothing is because I thought you guys were going to bring up what I talked about before, and then we could talk about that. So that was clearly a massive mistake.
We kind of forgot what you were talking about.
Like you brought up a lot of things. Like you kind of like said that you said that like it is deep, and like you said a lot of things.
Well, it's definitely deep, but I don't. I'm not. I mean, I do want to go. You don't use any art.
Yeah, it's like Replica. I will advise you when you make a statement, show us some evidence or points, because that's what we'll respond to. We don't like statements very much.
I don't know if I'm
not that we don't
doing
like
that. Like, I'm just mostly using common sense. Like, I just
common sense.
You're not pointing out where in the films what you're talking about is
coming from. Yeah.
No. That's not the word I was looking for. Is supported.
Okay.
You're not giving us evidence.
Well, to be fair, like I said, I have not thought about what you guys were talking about. Like that establishing thing I've never heard about before.
We're coming at this from the perspective of his peers as writers.
Yes.
All right.
So, and I was like, it's fine if you just like look at this as a movie, as like a just general audience goer. That's totally fine.
That's not who I am.
It seems like that is you are giving me the arguments of.
No. That's not. Look. I care about writing a whole hell of a lot, and it's definitely like a structural framework. But I've sort of moved over, and I don't think in that specifically only anymore, and I guess that look, I'm just a very creative person, and I have a different way of doing things. That's just a simple way to put it.
Can I please speak honestly for a moment and be as truthful as I can, like be blunt?
Do you ever not?
Very good point, but I'm asking for I'm asking for the sake of Replica, so I can try and teach him something.
Try not to break his soul.
Okay, look.
I have no problem with you doing that. How about you,
Go for it, dude.
Look. How about we actually talk
yes
about
or no?
Yes.
What?
Replica, yes or no? Can I try and teach you something?
Replica, just say yes.
Since when did this become about my permission? What?
Okay,
Derek wants to say something that's going to be harsh, and he just wants you prepared.
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay.
You're probably gonna be wrong, so don't.
All right. Okay, so this is the. I'm cracking my knuckles here. This is the way we're going. Okay. If you are truly a writer, yet you're ignoring.
I'm not a writer.
Let me speak. If you're saying you're this creative type and you appreciate writing and everything else, but you are ignoring the fine. If you are ignoring,
I'm not a writer.
Doesn't matter. This applies to everything, and I can tell you that from experience. I can tell you that from experience.
I will mute you. I need to mute you, Replica, because I gave her to speak. You can't interrupt people. You gotta let them talk.
If you are truly a creative type, like you are saying you are, if you are saying you said you appreciate writing, but you can't appreciate the finer details, you are never going to go anywhere in anything. And I do mean anything. If I were to go to my boss right now and say, "Oh, this happened," and he'll say, "Well, tell me what's your proof for that?" Because he will, and this will happen. And I say to him, "Oh, I just know it happened," or this is this is what I believe happened. He'll tell me, "Pack your shit, you're fired." If I did this in the book I'm writing right now, and I was to read it tomorrow, all of these people right in front of you or on this stream right now would tell me I suck. The devil is not in the detail. The devil is in the details is not just a saying; it is a fact. You need to know the details. You need to be able to support your argument, and you need to be able to back it up. Otherwise, no one will have a reason to believe you. No one will take you seriously. And furthermore, no one will want to talk to you because they can't have a productive conversation. I'm done.
I don't know why you felt the need to talk about that.
Because we've been going in circles for the last 30 minutes of, well, this is a problem. No, I don't think that. This is a problem. Yeah, but you're wrong. Well, how am I wrong? I don't want to talk about it here. You see the problem?
It's frustrating to discuss.
Really that bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. Is it really that bad? I don't know, man. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, there's a reason I brought it up, mate. It was getting a bit like,
Yeah, we want to have like a dialogue with you. Like we want to like have a back and forth, and like you've said a few times that you have a photographic memory of these movies, but we would like you to bring up some evidence from the movies to support your point. Otherwise, we can't really take your point seriously. It would be like
sure. Yeah, all right. Well,
it just benefits everyone all around. You might even not even say something we necessarily disagree with.
I get it. There's way too many assumptions being made right now.
Okay.
All right.
What are the assumptions? Please tell me what the assumptions are. I'm interested to, like, on our part or whose part. Please tell me.
Where do we begin?
Okay.
Where do we begin?
Okay, you have 5 minutes starting now. Filibuster. Go for it.
What?
You have 5 minutes. Go.
Where were we wrong?
For what?
Everything. You just sat through 3 hours of this. Where were we wrong?
I have to do everything?
No, just do what you can in the next 4 minutes.
Okay. You can anything you can think of that we're incorrect on. We are giving you the right to filibuster. Nobody can interrupt you. I will even mute everybody but you, and nobody will interrupt you for 5 minutes from the second you start bringing up your arguments for why we're wrong. And I will like even say like I will put the mute button on and I will mute them while you talk. So you don't need to do everything, but you can definitely like state your piece and bring up evidence. Like I'm interested to hear your perspective, but I need you to bring up evidence, not just statements, because statements I can't work with. Since I don't think you're a bad guy, and I think that like you've definitely done some research into this, and I just want you to be able to state your piece. So go for it.
Oh, fuck me. I'll just go off the top of my head and try stuff. You guys say that Anakin's turn to the dark side was sudden.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, it was a character arc that went on from episode 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's what Yoda described. It's fear, anger, hate, and suffering. It's he clearly, like, if you watch the movies, like it's. I don't really see the point where you could say it's rushed. Like I guess I would say it's rushed in the sense that episode 3 couldn't literally be like a 10-hour long movie. but it's like, well, I mean, you can see the conflict he is in episode 2, like like this is in a lot of the dialogue, which is often dismissed as just cringy stuff that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but it all connects. And it's the stuff like it's got a lot to do with Palpatine's grooming as well. Like you have that moment in episode 2 when Anakin essentially says that it should be like well, I'm not sure if it is like if he does advocate for a dictatorship. A lot of people say that he's advocating for a fascistic dictatorship. I'm not sure about that. I think he's more just saying like we need like a better version of democracy, but I don't know. Like Palpatine is definitely like pushing him into directions. And while I agree that killing the children was going pretty far, like it makes sense that he would do that, especially since well, maybe not that specifically, but it makes sense he would betray the Jedi because all they have ever. It's like the Jedi are partially like the reason why his mother died. Like the catalyst for him going evil is because he wants to save Padme. He wants to save the people he loves. There's like this thing like in episode 2 where he's like where he's don't say that. You're only making me more nervous. The fucking shit. Okay. Well, that just completely threw me off. Done. Like, that completely threw me off.
So you're talking about the turn?
No. Yeah. Sure. I fucking hell. Okay. In episode 2, he talks about he's good at fixing things, and stuff like that, and he and he says like I want to learn how to stop people from dying and everything. And like if you paid attention, you saw that the reason why his mother died was because he wasn't allowed to go to her and visit her because of attachments and stuff. So like he partially blames the Jedi for that. And if the Jedi would like refuse him the access code by not making him a master, and like also essentially discouraging, like I mean, like he goes to Yoda and he talks to him about like the fear of losing a loved one, and Yoda's essentially like, yeah, just let that person die, it's fun. Well, no, that's not what he says, but it's about what he says. And like he's essentially trying to stop history from happening again. And Palpatine tells him it is possible if he does a whole bunch of things for him. And he trusts Palpatine a lot more than the Jedi anyway, because the Jedi have always kind of looked down on him because he's the chosen one, and because he's got so much conflict in him and all that. So, for him to essentially betray the organization that was full of people that kind of didn't like him anyway, versus going with the one guy who's always there for him and who also promises him that he can save his own wife, like it like again, like I said, like it does kind of go far in the sense that he kills the children, but I mean, the clones were going to kill them anyway, and there's a lot more to that scene anyways, but it's saying the turn is rushed. I feel like you would have to miss out on like a lot of the dialogue in episode 2 definitely, but also a lot in episode 3. Like like there's a lot of stuff there, like Palpatine constantly telling him that the things the Jedi, Anakin talks about how he would, like, if he would become wiser and more experienced, that he would be able to become a master. And then Palpatine says that it's not a good gauge for wisdom and knowledge and stuff, and that they're essentially doing it not because he needs to develop more as a person, but because they're scared of him. and his power will become too much to control and stuff like that. And like there's a lot. It's a very complicated thing. Like people make it out as though it's just like, oh, I decide to be evil now. And I mean, when it comes to him doing like the really bad things, like that's just falling further down into hole. Like it's part that's like part of the, because like
Alrighty, your 5 minutes is up.
Okay, well, I hope you guys are happy.
Well, it's just I am giving you the opportunity to state your case, and like you brought up a bunch of points that I think are interesting discussion points. I know Neph had some commentary on it.
Oh yes, Neph, go.
Oh God!
Cue sinister Neph laughter.
Hey,
the fact she paused is like, collect my power.
Before you rip into him, I will say one thing. That was better. You were backing up things a little bit. You were putting down you weren't just making statements. You were providing evidence. Whether it was right or wrong, I can't say yet, but you were providing a backup to it.
That's all we were asking for.
Yeah. And that's kind of like why I like discussing writing, and why it's tough for me to like go with like just statements being thrown at me that something is good without like a lot of like supporting foundations. But you get
never make absolutely no mistake. Never assume that I say things for no reason.
Oh, it's basically I assume that there is a reason.
But we don't know that reason.
But we don't know it yet.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Just don't make that mistake.
So I think that Occupation Army made a good point. I think that this is a very good point. That I think that like the buildup is pretty good. It's just that the turn after he's been like seems like, at least like with the Dooku fight, he seems like he's morally conflicted after killing Dooku. But it seems like there's less conflict later, and I kind of don't buy the dark side. It acts as a drug argument, because that's not in the movies.
Yeah. That's completely unfair.
Why?
Because it's obvious.
How is it obvious?
It's not obvious.
So you say this, but you have this is partially from you having read other material, and it looks obvious to you now. Just looking at
I haven't read any other material.
Okay, so let's
the closest I got to other materials. Okay, the only other Star Wars con I've fully seen is Clone Wars 2003. I saw only a tiny bit of 2006. I've never read any novel. I haven't read any books, and I barely even played the video games.
There's just one thing with that. You have stated that you've gone to the wiki. That counts.
But also, here's the thing. From what we've seen, we've never seen the dark side necessarily corrupt someone simply from using the dark side. There's normally another factor corrupting them that makes them start using the dark side. It seems like the dark side's more a byproduct of corruption, not the cause of it.
And by the way, yes, when he is talking to Padme about politics, he is advocating for a dictatorship. He is.
Not really.
No, he is. He is.
There's a difference between being frustrated with how stupid democracies can be and like wanting to have like a full-scale dictatorship.
No, she asks if he is advocating for a dictatorship, and he says yes.
What?
What? Wait, where is this scene?
Wait a minute. Are you talking about? Sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship to me. Well, if it works.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I would just like to say
this is what I'm pointing to.
Sure, whatever, that works, I guess.
A slight moment. This does actually make sense for Anakin, seeing as he came from Tatooine, and coming from such a lawless place, I think any kind of sense of order would be appealing to him, even if he doesn't understand the consequences for other people.
Yeah. Yes, I can accept that. It's just that I can accept that as like something that Anakin would want, but I think that like that being like anything other than a red flag for Padme is kind of just like,
Well, I made it into a joke afterwards.
I want a neo-fascist dictatorship. I am so turned on right now.
But here's the thing. A lot of people say things like that, and they normally will back away from that position when someone starts confronting them because they're saying that more out of frustration, being like, God damn it, this seems more appealing than this bureaucracy shit. And then someone explains what he would be sacrificed. Like, okay, I get that. I'm just annoyed at this.
Except that he doesn't do that when Padme does that.
He says
yes.
He says I would be far too frightened to tease a senator, and laughs because she gives him a conversational out.
Yes, exactly. She gave him an out. Otherwise,
well, he starts laughing before he says any of that, so I don't see what the problem is.
Well, it's mainly just like that. He doesn't take anything back, and he
he doesn't.
So
he laughs like it's as if he was screwing with her.
That is not retracting his statement.
So what you're saying is that every single joke? No, okay, that would be like being an asshole. But
that was not a joke.
That was clearly not a joke. He was being dead serious.
Also, question: is it?
There's such a thing as the Schrodinger's asshole, where you decide whether it's a joke or not based on how it's received.
Also, Replica, is it a problem if Anakin wants a dictatorship? Like, it makes sense for the guy.
Well,
yeah,
look,
he lived under the Hutts, and the Hutts are dictators.
She already convinced me that is what he meant.
I know.
Saying that he turned it into a joke later. That's all.
Okay.
I can accept that he attempted to, but she shouldn't have taken him serious. She should have seen it.
She should have raised an eyebrow.
Well, here's the thing: if your husband starts advocating that kind of stuff, you're going to be a bit disturbed. Like, oh God, what the fuck are you thinking? But you're not going to do much else. It's like he's not going to actually be able to institute this.
I believe this happens in Attack of the Clones. Yes. And this is before they get married.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your future baby daddy.
You guys are making more out of this than it is.
That might be true, but we're kind of trying to examine it from a structural writing perspective, and we're kind of taking a look at it. We're not taking a look at it with the kind of intent to say that George Lucas is a terrible writer, screenwriter. We're just saying that George Lucas has very specific failings that don't break the plot, but they do weaken it.
Well, you consider that part of the story to be like a failure?
No, we just like dissecting it.
We like dissecting it because partially it's part of a whole, which is the romance subplot, and kind of when you because we I want to kind of see, okay, what are the building blocks of this relationship, and all I can see that he is an oversharer who seems like he has emotional problems that make him too immature to be in a committed relationship, and that she should see that and not go for him.
Okay. So what basically everyone's objections to the romance in general.
I'm just gonna say Padme's tastes are strange.
Yes.
I majorly disagree, but we would sit there for so long it would be dead.
So, well, that's okay. Why do you disagree? I'm interested to hear.
Oh God, this is going to give me an aneurysm. Well, the glasses are getting off now. All right.
Okay.
Typical Hollywood romances are garbage. They're way too fucking dramatic, and everyone is way too fucking expressive about everything. The actual real life version is very awkward and stilted. I find it to be far more realistic than most of them, and a lot of people have very subjective ideas of how Anakin is behaving, which I don't think work very well, because God damn it. Okay, this part I'm gonna fucking hate. I can already fucking tell I'm gonna hate this. All
okay,
right.
okay. Let's calm down. Let's make a starting point for you to go off of. Where do you?
All right.
Most of us think Anakin would be his relationship with Padme is awkward, specifically his behavior toward her, somewhat being creepy in the first two films. What would you say to that?
See, that's the problem. Is that it's like a state of mind to look at it that way. Like it's
state of mind.
I never thought it was creepy ever. Like I don't see that.
So you didn't think that the look he gave her before they left for Naboo wasn't creepy when it was obviously supposed to be?
Kind of like
you mean the look that he gives her when she says it's uncomfortable?
Yes.
And then
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like
that's not creepy at all.
Well, as a response to someone saying they're uncomfortable, you would normally like blush and be like, "Oh, sorry," not get turned on.
Except he goes, "I'm sorry, milady."
That's kind of the fucking
sound
idea.
Sorry at all.
So
it's kind of the fucking idea of that scene.
So like him being awkward could be intentional. It's just that like it isn't that it's stilted, and kind of just the fact that like I'm trying to kind of see why he would be appealing to her as a long-term partner, and because ultimately all partnerships, like relationship-wise, are built on mutual interests. They're built on like romantic chemistry, trust, that sort of thing.
They have mutual interests in what they want to see they want to see the Republic an end to the war and see it like peaceful and everything.
But this is before there is a war.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. So, Anakin showed somewhat of an interest in when he was a child. He got attracted to her kind of like that. And he's like, "You're the prettiest thing in the whole universe," and so he's already the kid is kind of like, "Oh, I'm a bit head over heels to you. You really pretty girl."
I never got that impression from the movie, to be honest. Like it just seemed like the kind of thing a 10-year-old kid would ask because, he's a 10-year-old kid. He doesn't know any better.
Yeah, but he's already showing a semi-interest. Not necessarily attraction, but he's like, "Oh, you're really pretty." Just like a little kid would probably say. And then time passes. He's in the Jedi Order, and he seems to... She's like still stuck in his head. He was like one of the first nice people he probably met in that entire place.
I think it also is because he discovered puberty.
He's also
it's part of puberty, so he's head over heels for her.
He also has obsession problems.
That is true.
Yes. He's clingy. Let's be clear. He is very clingy as a person. We see this with his mother, and we know why. He doesn't have many people that he gets along with, so he's incredibly clingy to his mother, and now we see him being somewhat clingy to his crush.
I apologize, guys. I gotta bail out. I gotta go take care of some stuff. But thank you for having me on.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
See you, Tarek.
No problem.
See ya. Have a nice night.
See ya.
So, I can see Anakin being head over heels for Padme. It's not a rational love. He's just puberty, obsession, and because
that's not exactly what's happening.
Okay, so
I mean that's like a lot of it, but that's not like exactly it. I mean he's like 19, so I doubt it's much with the puberty, but it's I don't know. Like it's
well, the Jedi. Well, I say the Jedi don't really like anyone. They're very clearly against attraction. They constantly say this: "Don't be attached to anyone." So he's had a lot of repressed puberty. He didn't get it out in the early teen years. He has to get it all out now.
Being in a presence again is intoxicating.
Yeah, that line. There's a lot of unintentionally funny things.
There's a lot of like super drama queen dialogue that Anakin gets.
What is that drama queen dialogue, Mr.?
With the relationship, I think Anakin is fairly well. It's clear that he's awkward, and it makes somewhat sense considering why the hell would this kid have social skills, and it makes sense why he would be clingy to her. I think the part where it breaks is Padme should not be feeling anything for Anakin, and she's already shown to be.
Why? Because she's clearly she.
She's being uncomfortable. She's showing discomfort around him.
She clearly finds him very attractive. And
Maybe,
No.
but she's already shown discomfort with how Anakin behaves.
No, that's not
and
discomfort. That's like Nam's pointed out that was actually that's actually because she was into him, but it was like too overbearing.
Okay, so can I just ask a question?
Mhm.
Why does Padme feel so strongly about Anakin in a romantic, devoted, sexual way that
What?
she is willing to marry him in the span of like 3 days?
The span of
How much
There's
time
a lot
passes in Attack
more.
of Clones?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going with
almost
the 3 days
100%
for
sure
because
there
whatever.
was a lot more time in between that.
So let's give them a very generous 2 weeks. That's still quite a lot of fast, considering their last interaction was when he was a child and she was a bit older, like in her teens. So it's already
she was 14 and he was 9 in the
I'm,
fantasy.
I'm not gonna comment on this because this is all very specific stuff.
Why do you
Like,
seem to
the romance doesn't work if she isn't willing to go through with it.
So here's the thing: their starting position is she is almost like an older sister in her role because of the year gap. 5 years is not necessarily a strange year for married couples, but it is strange when you're that young. She would be his babysitter, and now next time they meet, they are older, yes, but now it's like there's horny teenage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
see, that's a part of why I like it is
Calm
because
down.
it's younger people love.
Okay, you might like them, but we're saying in the context of the 2 characters, Padme is shown discomfort with how he behaves and is a bit too clingy. Anakin doesn't know how to behave properly around a lady that wouldn't make them uncomfortable, and this would just push her away.
Well, he's being very nice to her though. Like
he's being.
I think that's part of the charm of him is that he's trying to convey his emotions to her.
Yeah, he can be nice, but
very creepy about it.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I always had the feeling like she partially knew this and was kind of intrigued by that.
Okay, I want to just say something real quick. So I have a clingy stalker girl. Let's say this: she comes to my house every day. She constantly offers to rub my shoulders and my feet and everything. She constantly try to do me favors. She tries to clean the house and everything, and I just want her to go. I'm like, okay, I need personal space. You're folding my underwear. Could you please leave? And it's like she's being very nice to me. Yes, I know, but I'm saying that in this case, this girl is being very nice to me, and that would definitely make it feel bad to tell her to go away. But
you're looking at him like he's some creepy fucking stalker, which he is just not.
He's not a stalker, but he is.
He's not.
I will say he's not a stalker. He doesn't go out of her way to seek her out. But when he's with her, she is very much
very fucking hard to see. It is not the same thing, okay? Like I don't know what the term is. All right, like I don't
oversharing.
Oversharing. What the hell is that?
Like he shares way too much about how he feels with her about Obi-Wan, and after
I do that too.
That's
okay. So
that proves our point very well.
Replica. So I think in this case, I think you're kind of you seem to view their behaviors as somewhat normal, or just some view that you would do the same. And it's like, okay, yes, this might be normal for you, but in the context of 2 characters, it's normal for Anakin to behave like this, yes. But we've already seen Padme be somewhat discomforted by that behavior, like most people tend to be.
That's not what it is, though.
She has said, your staring makes me uncomfortable.
Yes, and
that
like
is
I
showing
said,
discomfort.
Yes, and like I said before, Anomaly said that she said that because she was into him.
But we don't get where in the movie do we get really hints at that moment that she's into him?
That comes later.
Yeah, so it comes later.
I honestly have other problems with the romance, like just the fact that she is dressed in a way that is clearly meant to engorge his nethers.
That's the point is that she's not admitting it, but she's definitely like for the
then why say she's uncomfortable? That's not what you would say.
That's the
Okay. So okay.
Okay.
So what is this? What is this whole romance motivated by? Because
I'm happy I'm having this conversation with you all. Because when I make my video on this, I'm definitely going to be able to. I'm definitely going to make sure I'm going to triple ultra back it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as I can see this, and as far as the arguments being presented here, they get married because they're in love. They are in love because they are attracted to each other. It's like, what do they bond over? Like, if you just go by like the Watchmen graphic novel, Dan and Laurie have a very clear bond by the end of that story. It's like, what is the bond of these two?
They have common interests.
Really?
Towards the Republic, towards the. There's a lot there. Like, I mean, if you want me to like specifically quantify what like the core of that is, then I would have to analyze it again.
Neph, you were saying?
Please provide us with evidence of what you're saying, please.
All right,
and have it be from the film, please.
Yeah, no outside sources.
Why would it not? Why do you? Whatever.
Because we are
no.
critiquing the films as films. We are not taking anything.
Well, the thing is, he has stated repeatedly that he does not read EU stuff, so I don't think that's going to be an issue here. So I think that kind of basically, like, from what I can see, like, Mr. Replica, you are clearly like a person who the storytelling method that George Lucas uses appeals to you. However, we are kind of looking at this from the era of, let's look at this as a script and a story versus the subliminal messaging. Is that a fair assessment, or am I off?
It's decently fair. Like, you shouldn't assume that I don't care about that.
Or at least like
the problem is that a lot of that stuff explains a lot of the questions, and it's frustrating because you see the problem with it. Another problem with it as well, which is more of a side thing, but it's also that you start looking for problems, you're going to find them where they don't exist, and it's kind of up to you to try and like figure out if that's true or not. But your own subjective perspective can fuck with that as well. So it's is your idea of what is an objective problem correct, or did you mess it up? And a lot of, I mean, like, the well, when it comes to prequels, the well has been poisoned for sure. Absolutely been poisoned. Like, there's just no getting around it. Like, it's poisoned as hell. Like, every single possible thing anyone could ever try and grab and fling at this movie, it has been done. So it's like, what is a real thing and what is not a real? That's like why I am making my series on like what I'm working on right now, and I have video that's actually really close to completion now.
Okay.
Like, what I'm working on is making response videos to some of the original people. So Mr. Plinkett, Samuel Gavin, Confused Matthew, those guys.
Yeah.
And
I will agree with you that Matthew is wrong on multiple points. Yes.
And like the important thing with that is that it needs to be understood that those like points of views on these movies are invalid and should not be considered by anyone, just at all. Like, there is no value to it whatsoever. And the real conversation, which I guess is the one you guys are trying to have here, is unfortunately always going to be somewhat impacted by that. And
that's why we're trying to get around that. We're trying to look at it objectively. We're trying to see what are the events happening in the film, what's in the film, and what's they're trying to portray.
You're definitely trying, but I think that like I'm not saying that people like Rick Worley or Style is Substance like have like removed any like flaw from these things, But once you start to understand the why a lot of things are done the way they are, well, then it's very hard to look at them as problems anymore, because they honestly very quickly cease to be once you get there. Like it's
just
but
a
I mean,
question:
like,
Have you seen Loki on Disney Plus?
But there
God.
still is the absolute question of the pure quality of the script, which I actually think is not as good on the prequels as it could have been. Like I think we're talking about like 80% here.
So
like
I could the arguments that you are making, like whether like visual language was communicated, I could possibly make that argument for Last Jedi.
No, you can't.
Why?
Because The Last Jedi is absolute fucking garbage.
We can say that about the prequels, like.
Well,
Yes.
the thing is, I can say that Rian Johnson, if we try to understand Rian Johnson's methods of communicating, I can say that like it has.
They're not comparable.
The argument that you're using, I can apply to TLJ.
They're not comparable. Like
People
have said this before. I refuse to like acknowledge TLJ in an argument like that.
Replica. We're not trying to say they're equivalent. We're trying to say that your argument can be used to even defend The Last Jedi. We're trying to say your argument is flawed.
There's a lot more to it than just the subliminal messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Like Style Substance video on the prequels, I would point anyone like who watches this to like get to understand my perspective on this whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if
we've been at this for nearly 4 hours. Maybe we should round off.
Yeah, we should probably round off. I do have to say thank you to Replica for coming on and stating your case. It's been interesting to see your perspective, and thank you for Share Create that you were thinking you want people to look at.
Style is Substance video on the episode 1, the review, like that like
Style is Substance. I'll look that up now.
Okay, I will look that up. That might be interesting to as a discussion point, since I prefer not to, at least with like the prequels. I just come at it from like, okay, this is relatively enjoyable. This doesn't insult my intelligence. This is just something like there could have been some pretty hefty improvements made, but it doesn't destroy the story or ruin anything.
Well, look, I'll admit that I have kind of gone a little bit too far in one direction, and I'm clearly showing gaps in the armor with that, because when it came time for me to argue with you guys about the specifics of the script, I was pretty lacking, because I was kind of thinking more as the whole broader I look at the movies more as like the interconnectivity of it all, and like all the little details that like the story beats and all that stuff. And I'm not really caring all that much about the nitty gritty, like every detail thing. I mean, like I'll be honest with you. Like when you gave me that 5-minute rant, I was like, that was me trying very, very, very hard to like really nail something together that like you guys wouldn't be willing to take a crack at, because I don't think you guys think that everything I say has been like stupid or badly argued or whatever, but I can definitely see myself that I am not doing nearly as good as I could have, and that's probably because I haven't focused on this as much. Like
you were unprepared, and we put you on the spot. So yeah, you were clearly frazzled by it.
Yeah,
and I also am not as experienced in writing as you guys are. Like not by a long shot. I struggle with writing a lot because I'm a visual thinking guy, and actually that explains a lot about the other stuff we talked about. But most people think in numbers. Like they close their eyes, and when they hear about an apple or whatever, they think about the word apple. Like people like me, they see the visual thing. So like for me to like sit down and just look at this giant wall of text and like do stuff with that is very hard. Like the video I'm making right now didn't have a script. Like all of it was at the top of my head, which is why it took so long, probably. But like that's a flaw that I have to work on. So it's that is why.
Alrighty. Well, I think that this has been an interesting discussion. I think that hopefully this has been productive to people watching it. I'll probably split this video in half. Initial discussion, and then do the replica film debate as a separate thing.
All right.
Get some more views done.
Yes, I'm okay with that. But thankfully today we rose by 2 subs, I think. So
really?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think but I think next week we'll kind of go into less controversial territory with New Hope.
Yeah,
probably.
So immediately, I have a hot take, and I have a relatively hot take in that I think that Edge of Tomorrow does the hero is more easily analyzed as a hero's journey, is a better example of a hero's journey story than A New Hope is, but that will be for another time.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's that I also like whenever I talk about any of the Star Wars films, I kind of. The way I kind of look at them in a way is that they're like one giant movie altogether, all 6 of them. So, like
that's one way to look at it, yes. But there's
yeah.
But I mean, like Style Substance talks about it in his video, but he explains it all a lot better than I can right now. So I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, then that's totally fine. And like I think I'm interested to kind of like I think that kind of like we can now say that we have fully dissected the prequels and there's really nothing more that we can talk about.
And don't worry about don't worry about the words. We understand. We really do. Words are hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not English from my native language.
Yeah,
heel stuk makkelijker.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anybody in the chat who would like to subscribe, thank you for.
I have to get that last shameless plug.
Yes,
die, motherfuckers.
Yep. Well, if you like this content, I would love to see more of you in the chat. In whatever interesting things. I think after Star Wars, we're kind of gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do.
Well, Dunn has a Twitter, and so do I. So if that's of interest to you, and whatever.
And if any of you want to see me talking more about the prequels later, then you can go to my channel, Replica Films.
Yep. I also have.
You can find me in Dunn's Discord.
Yep.
You had a channel.
Discord.
You had a channel.
Yeah, I do have a channel. Yeah. Mostly it's just gaming videos at the moment.
Yep. And
go sub her channel.
The link is in the description. If you want to see like my writing and analyze my stuff, feel free to take a look at my work here. I know that another book is coming out at the end of the month, and that will be Battle of the Seven Suns, and then Dragon Blaster will be coming out in August, and Super Shots will come out in the meantime, released weekly.
Wait a minute. Have all of you guys like released books and stuff?
Nope.
Only Dunn, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys are all very involved and like aspiring to do that, right?
Yes, as my name would suggest.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think I might be the wrong guy for this. I think. It's not like I don't aspire to do my own things, but I'm just like I said before, visual thinker, approaching things completely different way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's actually like the thing to take away here is that it takes someone like me to really, really extra double special see what George Lucas is doing, and the rest it's not as easy. And that's like that's the conflict there, is that it's just a different state of mind. Because I wouldn't be surprised if George is a visual thinker. I mean,
I imagine he is.
I can imagine he is.
I mean, let me just tell you guys something, right? Rick Worley's video, I assume you guys have all seen that. Like,
I have a couple
when he
of times
pointed, when he pointed that out, you know, the visual symmetry and all that, that was not something I didn't know before. That was something he pointed out that I had noticed all the time before, and then I finally like actually realized it because it was subconscious. So maybe it's just a different state of mind. I don't know, but I promise to all you guys that I will definitely try harder in the future. But you know, I mean, I was kind of afraid. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was kind of afraid this is gonna become a shit show, and I was gonna just have to leave, and that didn't happen. And I just stayed, and you guys gave me the room to talk and all that, and so yeah, that I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yes, thank you for not leaving.
We're not like Just Right or Patrick Willems
or Pop Culture Detective.
Like, and the nice thing is, I like this movie. Like, there's not like I don't dislike any of the prequels. I think that they're like they have structural problems, but they aren't in terms of like how they're written. But I don't think they're awful and beyond redemption. So I'm not coming in from the perspective of like Patrick Willems, who thinks that like Revenge of the Sith is the worst Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and I'm coming at it from the same angle.
Yeah.
It's like I like these movies. They have problems. Most of them, however, are superficial. And none of the problems that there are universe breaking.
Yeah, and they're not like they're relatively forgivable problem. They're forgivable problems in a lot of cases, but it's kind of they are still there.
And when we say the Anakin Padme romance is awkward, that's actually a compliment. Because in Attack of the Clones, he is 19. He's a teenager and he doesn't know what he's doing. So of course it's going to be awkward.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with how Anakin is written. My problem.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Padme.
Okay, so
it's not Anakin. It's Padme.
Let's not get into this debate again.
No, I'm not. You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. You see, whenever somebody says it's awkward, especially with the videos I have okay, I think I'm beginning to see the problem. The videos I have researched, the arguments I have researched to go up against, are so low tier, so broken and stupid, that like actual smarter ones I struggle with because because when you say awkward, what do I think about? Well, I think about Plinkett saying that it's the most retarded, like the worst, like romance since like Twilight or something.
No, we're talking about his behavior. We're talking about his behavior as a teenager.
I know, but that's what
we're talking about.
That's
what I think about. Is what I'm saying.
What he's saying is that we're arguing better than the people who are just making statements. We're trying to go into the granular details.
Yeah.
Because we're dissectors. We must rip it to every atom.
Yeah.
The quote White, we're gonna rip and tear.
Yeah. It's fine. I see that now. Like, it's just like look, if you look, just trust me. If you guys look up Confused Matthew or like a guy named Samuel Gavin, watch his arguments on the prequel, you can understand why I'm such a militant motherfucker about all this.
Oh yeah, that's totally. I can definitely understand where you are coming from. Because
we've gone over Confused Matthew's
Lion King
video.
Oh god, I was thinking about making when I'm going to make my videos on Confused Matthew, I'm making that a bonus just for the sake, just for the hell of it. Just look, don't tell me. I need to suffer properly, so I'm fired up when I'm going to edit it. But just tell me, just say, express the video in one word.
I actually,
one word.
Biased.
Very biased.
And also, here's the funny thing: that that comment section, that video has the most salty comment section of anything I've ever done. It's kind of hilarious. There are so many
salty in a good way or in a bad way.
They are just angry. They call us like algerin man nerd tards or something like that.
Nostalgia nerd tards?
What?
So they're like, oh, fuck the Lion King, you're an idiot if you like it.
I bet that if I watch that review, I'm just gonna get an aneurysm. Like it's. I was created on this planet to deal with stuff like that. I wasn't dealt for all this. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think the main point that we should get at is there are a lot of very superficial and bad criticisms that have been levied at the prequels, and very often they seem to either overlap or take attention away from more substantive issues, which kind of weakens the entire discourse around it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot. Like, I genuinely believe a lot of the things you guys brought up weren't problems, but that's like a way more complex thing. And I guess in my video series I'll go into that a lot more. What the fuck is this?
Oh, this is the comment.
That is the comment section for the.
Well, hold on. Did I just see somebody say if he challenged Mufasa he would lose? What did Confused Matthew unironically say? Why doesn't Scar just attack him? I mean, that seems dumb enough to try.
See, like that's actually something that you can explain with visual language because Mufasa is much bigger, and is like, and Scar is really thin and scrawny.
And we see Scar.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Scar says, "Oh, I could never beat you in a fight" or whatever. Like, he has a line to that effect.
Yeah, also, if Scar could beat Mufasa, then you'd think he would also be able to beat, like... He clearly is smaller than Mufasa, and then he's barely able to beat Simba, who is just, like, a little bit smaller than Mufasa. There's a reason Mufasa is king. Scar is weak.
Yeah.
All right, well...
Yeah, we should probably conclude it there. But this has been fun. Thank you, Replica Films, for coming on, and I'm glad that we were able to at least live up to certain levels of standards of argumentation and not sink to the lows of Red Letter Media or Confused Matthew.
That's what I was planning to do.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we will see you guys later. Adios.
Bye.